What is going on, guys? Welcome to Test This Tech, and today we got the FDUCE D30 Plus, I believe it is. Um, it's funny they come up with all these really weird model numbers like it's going to make a difference, but anyway, I won't be so negative immediately. This is the D30 Plus FDUCE. It is a dynamic microphone. Which has a couple functionalities here. It's got a touch capacitive mute button, has a headphone driver. You can hear yourself, and I don't know if it's entirely zero latency monitoring. I think there might be a slight delay. If you're familiar with other more professional, um, USB dynamic microphones, you can probably hear the latency. I can't hear it too much. It's not too much of an issue. But as far as for the functionality or for what you do get this boom arm. This is the classic percussive boom arm. Everything you touch around it, you're going to hear it. I highly would recommend. They have these little sleeves that go over these that cover the springs, because that's really what that's 60% of the sound is going to be the reverberance from the springs. So if you get the sleeves, it'll make much less noise. But for example, like this is basically a percussive instrument, a percussive instrument. So let's talk about the functionality of the microphone. So you have the mute button. So let me test the mute button just to see how it sounds. Mic, and now the mute is off. Now, this does have something over the EPOS that I tested before, and I can control the monitoring as far as for the gain. So it has, if you press and hold on the capacitive mute button, it switches from the audio to the headphone amp, and I can adjust it via the wheel. The one weird thing though is that for the wheel, when you turn it, it makes a slight weird noise, like some type of weird electronic snappy noise. Yeah, some type of a feedback that it makes when you're turning the wheel. So that's kind of annoying. I think this is mainly because of cheap PCB parts that are in here. So for example, if you were to use an Elgato Wave 3, right? You wouldn't have that issue, but it's just cheap parts. I think that's why it's making that sound. But yeah, headphone amp and the audio, you can adjust it regardless of that sound that it makes for each turn. You can adjust it, and I can monitor my headphone sound, which is a huge misstep from the EPOS. The EPOS does sound good. It sounds better probably than this, but that is going to make all the difference. Hey guys, I forgot to do the XLR test here for the microphone. So the FDUCE D30 Plus, this is the XLR version of it. I have it connected into the Zoom R4, connected it directly into the iPad. Of course, I can't do headphone monitoring from the microphone because that is USB only. So I have it plugged into the Zoom R4 as far as my headphones go and the mic. But yeah, this is the XLR test for the microphone. Now, let's talk about sound. I'm curious to see what you guys think about it. This is the first time I've plugged it in. I took it apart, put it together. So I'm curious to see how it sounds in general. Yeah, and this is a dynamic microphone. Plosives are a thing, so the windscreen's not really doing a whole lot. These type of setups are mainly for someone, I would say, if you're in a pinch, you have a guest on for a podcast, and they just need to talk into something. This is a potential option. I think there's 1,000 of other options that might be better than this, but this is a potential option for that. Or if you were to send this kit to a guest, I think this would be okay. You might have to coach them through maybe the audio settings. That may be a potential reason to get this. Or if you're just on a really tight budget, you want to have something that you can just talk into for a stream, and it's not a condenser microphone where it's going to pick up so much noise all around you. You want it just to be a little more, a little better of a sound. this may potentially be an option. Personally, I think there's a lot of other options that would be better than this. Fifine has been doing a really good job with their options. So I want to say it's called it is the AM8, the Fifine AM8. It does have a cheap plastic like this, but the microphone capsule, I think, is a little better than it. I do like that this capacitive mute button is a lot bigger than the AM8, but I think from a sound perspective, it might sound better. They also have the K688 as well. Another option where a lot of people are like, oh, it sounds like an SM7B, but like I never really see anybody use that on like a more high-end podcast or like a mid-pop podcast as far as like popularity. But I think it is a solid option for a budget gamer, budget streamer, budget podcaster. So those are some other options to consider than this. If I were to rate this, I think I'd probably give it like a 6.5. These boom arms, like these are terrible options. Do not use this for a primary podcast. It's merely just to get yourself by for an interview or something like that. And then when you do have it set up where the person doesn't have to touch this at all, but I would not recommend these boom arms. They're just not. Just don't do it. You'll thank me later. But anyway, this is the FDUCE D30 Plus. Let me know what you think. I think I only paid like $28 for this. So I mean, as far as for the price, I mean, you're getting a price to performance in a sense. It's $28. What else do you expect? I think you're getting a lot more than normal. The biggest feature for me is hearing or being able to monitor the headphone gain. I can see the literal notifications on here on the side, and I can do a mute. And it's not going to pick up into the recording. That in itself is worth $28, to be honest with you. So as long as you have a decent microphone technique, I think it'll be okay. And also too, which is kind of neat, this USB that it comes with, it has a little splitter on the end where it has Type-C and then you have the A. So I didn't have to use an OTG adapter because at the end there's an A and then there's another cord attached to it where that end is USB Type-C. So that's kind of cool. So FDUCE, good job there. That was a good play you did. But other than that, let me know what you guys think. Test this tech. Catch you guys next video. Thanks a lot.